Welcome back to A Life Refurbished. My name is Walissa, and today we're working with a mid-century modern piece. Because of its size, I think it's very versatile. It can be used as a dresser. It would be a perfect TV stand or a buffet. It has a great amount of storage space. Look at all these drawers. Because this piece is solid, heavy, made out of wood, after I'm done with it, especially if I can restore it, I can get anything between mid to upper $900. So maybe a full day of sanding or perhaps 2 days. It's a really good size. Besides being a Broyhill premier brand, this piece has more than meets the eye. For starters, it has 8 drawers total behind the drawers. It's on the top 5 heaviest pieces we've ever lifted, which speaks of its solid construction, but the finish is in desperate need of a refresh. I'm gonna get rid of any of the furniture polish here. I see some discoloration on the top. That's the part that I'm a little bit worried about. I don't know if I'll be able to restore it. Pieces like this one are timeless. Very popular here in the Twin Cities, Minnesota area. It has the modern straight lines. Believe it or not, this finish is making a comeback. I actually went on a girls trip with some of my best friends. I'm gonna see if I can find a picture because we went to Magnolia in Texas. If you like furniture makeovers, you might recognize some of my best friends in the picture. Anyway, while we were at Magnolia, I remember seeing a few pieces that had a finish very similar to this one. And in my mind, it's like, should I even put all the effort in restoring it? It's not gonna look exactly the same color, but the handles definitely have to leave, for sure. Friends, if you've enjoyed this video so far, I'm trying to reach my subscriber count to 20,000 before the end of the year, and your support by subscribing would really help me out. While we clean the piece together, let me explain why I decided to list it for $1,200 instead of $900. If you're looking for a piece with an amazing amount of storage, this is it. As for me, these sort of hidden drawers mean more sanding time and more supplies. The other factor that I consider before pricing is how often do I see these pieces out in the wild? Meaning, do I see other people selling them, finished or unfinished, on Facebook? When was the last time that I saw a similar one at a secondhand store? And the more and more I thought about it, I realized how unique and hard to come by this piece really is. On top of that, the fact that it can be used in more than one way is like having the perfect trifecta. Things that I need to take into consideration when deciding how to price. I'm sanding with 120 grit here, and I need to be careful. In case you missed it, the top has a beautiful veneer design that runs in different directions. Where the two directions meet, the sander can orbit a little harder in one direction, and one can easily burn through it. So I'm taking my time here. Patience is really going to pay off. The veneer on top is typically not very thick, and sanding through it can cost me not just the restoration, but also money, as typically restorations are better paid in my area. Once I'm done with this grit, my second round will be with a 150 finer one. This will open the grain just right so it can absorb the new stain and top coat. The finish you get at the end is usually determined by the work you put in right here. Same applies when sanding details like this one on the front doors. The sander do most of the work, but there's always that groove that needs a little bit more detailing, which I do by hand. There are a couple minor chips in the wood, and this plastic wood in the color walnut from DAP helps cover them up. This stuff dries pretty fast, so I can sand small repairs within like 10 minutes. Right here I'm wiping off any leftover dust, but especially for restorations, I like to go a little bit extra when cleaning the piece, so I wipe it all down with mineral spirits. Sure enough, I think this almost happens with every piece. While I was moving the drawers around, I found this one that needed to be re-glued. But let me tell you why I prefer quick and thick glue over carpenter's glue. Just like its name says, it goes in thick, which means less mess for me. And it also dries faster than carpenter's glue, so it's become like a new favorite product of mine. So here I'm taping around the edges on the top and also around the front frame. And if you notice, I've covered the base. I'm gonna explain here in a minute why I'm doing this. Okay, I just got done taping around all the light color oak wood so that I can stain those areas with Early American from Barathane. My goal is to bring contrast between the red and dark browns that walnut has versus the really light cool tone of white oak. And I want to try and leave the base in the light color. I want to see if I like it. If the base is a little too distracting or it looks off against the rest of the dresser, I might use a little bit of toner on it just to bring a little bit of warmth. But we're gonna have to wait and see. So let's get this beauty stained today. And I'm just making sure, since it's a new can, that it gets stirred really, really good here. So I'm gonna be using a small and the next size up foam brush to apply it. This might just be me, but I feel like when I try to be a little bit more precise when staining, since I'm focusing on a smaller area here, I find that these brushes help me stay neat and contain. Not sure if that makes any sense, but that's how I feel. I'm letting the stain sit for about 5 minutes or so before wiping off the excess with a shop towel. Some of the reasons I love sharing projects like this is because I know there are people watching who are trying to create extra income for their families. Or maybe some of you need an escape from the real world and find working with your hands therapeutic. Both of these apply to my story. I was struggling with debilitating anxiety and burnout when I decided to leave the healthcare system. And I didn't know what I was going to do next. Maybe you're struggling with your mental health and want to create beauty with your own hands, or maybe you're struggling with bills, trying to pay off debt. Furniture refinishing is a great way to be playful, be creative, create beauty out of ashes, so to speak, and work with your hands. And if done well, make part-time or even full-time income. That's why I always encourage people not to wait for perfect conditions or circumstances. Start with what you have and where you are. Learn the process, make mistakes, have fun while making them, and improve with every piece. Good morning, friends. Today we're gonna be top coating, also highlighting the beautiful walnut veneer on this piece. So far, I'm really liking what I'm seeing, so let's keep going. This baby's gonna look so beautiful. We're gonna be stirring our can of oil-based RMR Seal. This is very durable, and that's why I love it and continue to use it over bare wood finishes, you guys. Using a clean soak. Keep moving your top coat. So what can you expect if you don't keep moving this product as you're using it? The components that give the piece a satin finish settle at the bottom. So instead of having a piece that looks satin all throughout, you'll get one that will look opaque in some areas. So just keep stirring it or swirling it around as you're using it. One of the most important things when using this product as you're applying it is not to over wipe it on. If you do so, you're gonna start seeing bubbles that form. If that does happen for you, just leave it alone, let it dry, do a light scuff sand with like a 320 grit, wipe it clean, and apply another coat. I do let it sit on the surface about 5 minutes before wiping the excess off with a shop towel here. I've heard other people say that leaving areas on these pieces unstained, like what I'm choosing to leave the base, looks like it was done by a novice. That instead, monochromatic finishes look professional. But I personally disagree with that. I think leaving different tones can help bring out one another or make the dominant wood, in this case the walnut one, stand out. But again, this is my personal opinion. At the end, make sure that whatever you're working on makes your heart happy. Consider others' opinions, but don't let them take the lead in your own creative path or business journey. Of course, it's wise to keep your market in mind, and there are certain styles I prefer to work on that might not be very popular in my area. But once in a while, I'll work on something that might take longer to sell that makes me happy. Keeping a balance between what sells and what keeps your creative juice flowing and have fun with will help you keep this journey of refinishing full of meaning and joy. Guys, this is the stage where all of those hours of work become worth it. Watching a piece reclaim its character, just like I had to do with my own when I first started this journey, that's why I love what I do. It reminds me that we are all a work in progress. I added new black knobs. I think they help the wood pop even more. And the last thing I want to do, because the inside of the piece is just as important as the outside, is to refreshen the wood inside of the drawers. For that, I'm using this furniture tonic from Wise Owl. I'm using the non-scent one here. It makes a huge difference. And just like that, here he is. I'm really pleased with its new look, and I have someone coming to take a look at it this afternoon. I'll keep you all posted. What do you think of the different wood tones? I'll read you all in the comments, and I will see you next time.